Maharaj is here. Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. We welcome His Bhakti Maharaj with a loud high ball. High ball.
Haribol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So please, Maharaj, over to you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu. Om Magyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we are again. We finished chapters 13 and 14. We need to do some revision a little bit on chapter 14, just to make sure everybody's familiar, right? Chapter 14 was about the three modes of nature. We have a lot of association with the modes of nature, right? So in the 15th chapter, they talk about the Mahatattva. So what do we mean by the Mahatattva? What is the Mahatattva? Answer is in text number 3. Yeah? Yes? Somebody can tell me? I'm not hearing anybody.
Mahatattva.
Right, the Mahatattva is mentioned, and is one of the questions you should be able to answer.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can I?
Yes.
Mahatattva is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation.
Right, the total cause of the cosmic manifestation. Right? It's the manifestation. There's the Pradhan, and then there's the Mahatattva. The Pradhan is the unmanifested stage, and the Mahatattva is where the elements all become manifested. So it's like that, the time of creation. In the beginning there's the Pradhan, where everything is unmanifested, and then after that, and then you've got the elements come into existence, and this is the Mahatattva. All the elements mixed together, the Mahatattva. Let's see, I think it's mentioned also some other place. No. Yeah, it's mentioned also there that the total material substance, the Mahatattva, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature. The total material substance, the Mahatattva, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature. And then there's a quote, Mundaka Upanishad. So there's another definition of the Mahatattva, the total material substance, and it is described as Brahman. So you can understand the Mahatattva in different ways. And then it said how that Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman being the Mahatattva, they're impregnated with the living entities. All right? So that's something we should know. Right? What are the what is the condition of the mode of goodness? How does the mode of goodness condition people?
Yeah, Maharaj.
Yes?
Hare Krishna, Pranam. When the conditioned soul feels that he is advanced in knowledge and better than others, so he become conditioned.
Yeah. We can answer simply, we can simply say conditions. In the mode of goodness, people are conditioned to knowledge and happiness. Right? That's the two things. The knowledge, they have more knowledge, they think they have more knowledge than others, and because they have more knowledge, they think they're better off than others, and so they feel happy to think they're better than others. Right? This is the nature of the mode of goodness. People become conditioned to knowledge and happiness. And the mode of passion is conditioned by what? You have to read the text to get this one. Text.
Maharaj, may I?
Yes.
The mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between men and women.
Yes. Right. Good. You got it. That's the answer. The mode of passion is
Recording in progress.
People are conditioned to the attraction between men and women. That's important to remember. And what about the mode of ignorance? 3 results of the mode of ignorance.
He becomes mad.
Yes. Text number 8.
Lazy and more sleepy, like he crazy. He becomes crazy.
Yes. Become crazy and they're lazy. They'll sleep more than they need to. Anything else? Yeah.
Madness, indolence, sleep.
Yes.
Foolishness.
Delusion and inertia.
Inertia. Yes. Indolent. Lazy. Okay. And then, what is this?
Addicted to intoxicants.
What's that?
Addicted to intoxicants.
Oh, yes, right. Yes, good. Intoxication. Addicted to intoxication. Okay. And then, and what is the destination for people who die in the mode of goodness? If they die in the mode of goodness, what will be their destination?
Gradually go
In the
upward to the
higher planets.
Okay, and if they die in the mode of passion?
Attains earthly planets again, rebirth again.
Yes, come back again and there. And what happens when they die in the mode of ignorance?
Birth in lower species like animals.
Yes.
Go down to hellish birds.
Yes. Okay. So how can we transcend the modes of nature?
By doing devotional service.
Yeah, what's the verse? In the 14th chapter. Do you know the verse? Have you learned the verse yet?
14.26 Maharaj.
Yes, do you know?
14.19.
You know it?
Mamcha yoga vicharine bhakti yogena sevate.
Sagunam.
Sagunam samite yan
Brahma.
Sagwan samatayati tan brahma
Brahma
bhuya.
bhuyaya kalpate.
Yes, what's the translation?
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Right, good. Yes. And then there's an analogy. There's an analogy about a king and his servant, how they're on an equal level. You know that? There's an analogy given. It's in text 27. The king, you should know these analogies. Prabhupada has given these different analogies. They're very good to use in preaching. The king and his servant, they're on an equal level. So what is the example? Yeah?
Example 4 Kumavas.
No. That's an analogy about how the king and his servant, they enjoy on an equal level. The same way the Lord and the living entities, they enjoy on an equal level. You know, the Lord is Bhagavan, he has all opulences. And the same way the devotee, he does not experience any difficulties because he's connected in devotional service with Krishna. So he enjoys also, just like if you live in a center in Krishna consciousness, every day you can eat prasadam, and you're living in the temple, you live in the palace of the Lord. The temple is like the palace. And so, like that, if we can go to the spiritual world, we can be with Krishna, and we can enjoy with Krishna on an equal level. And then there's another analogy about the scorpion, and it lays its eggs in rice. In text 19. Right? So how do we use this example? The scorpion lays its eggs in rice. Text 14, chapter 14, text 19. Scorpion lays its eggs in rice. People think, oh, the scorpions, they've come from the rice. They're thinking life comes from matter. But actually the scorpion laid its eggs in the rice. The rice didn't produce the scorpions. It was the scorpion went in the rice and laid its eggs there. And when the eggs hatch, then the scorpions come out. So people the same way, they're thinking life comes from matter. But they don't understand actually behind everything is the Supreme Lord. Right? You know the example? And then there's another example also, the analogy about the living entity compared with gold in text 26. The living entity is compared to gold. Right? What's the example? Can you find it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, what's the example?
Living entity in his spiritual position is as good as Krishna in quality, but not in quantity.
Uh-huh. So why is it like gold?
Maharaj, as any ornament or something like little particle is from made from gold, but it is not the whole thing. So we are the part and parcel of the Krishna, and not the quality, like all qualities we have like the Krishna.
Just the qualities, particles have same quality as gold, so we have qualities as Krishna, but in quantity, the gold made of the full
we are
is
not
different,
the whole.
and particles are different. Yeah, in quantity.
Okay, good. Yeah, you've got it right. So living entity in his spiritual position is as good as Krishna in quality, different in quantity, right? Okay, very good. So those are some different analogies which are there in the purports. It's good to know these.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Yes?
is there a background sound coming from your side?
Yeah,
The
Mayapur, you know.
Mayapur Kali Yuga Kirtan. Okay, I understand what Maharaj.
It's a village nearby. They're playing some music, you know.
These devotees have never been to Mayapur. Once they come here and spend the night, they will know that.
You know, there's all kinds of noise here every night. There's so many jackals, you know, you can hear the jackals, and if it's not the jackals, then it's a village, you know, and some party going on.
It's partying going on. Yes.
And early in the morning, you got the mosque. There's so many mosques nearby.
That's my Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead to chapter 15. We're going to hear. Oh, you can see in the last text on that chapter, text 27, it gives the example about the king. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. The king lives in the palace, and his servants live there in the palace with him. And the king eats food, the servants will eat the same food. And so they enjoy on an almost equal level. In the same way, the living entities, we're also like the Lord. We enjoy, we're eternal, we're spiritual body, it's full of bliss and knowledge. We have happiness, we have eternal life, in devotional service. So in that way we're not very different from the Lord. It's like the king and his servants. And Prabhupada describes about devotional service, how we can just simply engage in all kinds of activities for the Lord. And by doing devotional service, we become detached from all material activities. And so we become situated in the Brahmajyoti, or, Prabhupada said, in the Brahmajyoti are the different varieties of the Brahman conception, which are equal to the Supreme Lord in quality. That's at the end of chapter 14, right? Then we go on to chapter 15. We're going to hear about Yoga Purushottam, the yoga of the Supreme Person. Right? So it's an interesting chapter. And it begins, Lord Krishna is giving an example. He's describing about how there's the material world and there's also the spiritual world. Right? Because in chapter 14 he was talking about the modes of nature. And we were talking, Arjuna was asked how to get free, how to get liberated. So here Lord Krishna is describing more about the nature of the living entity's entanglement in the material world and how he can get free from the material energy. So it begins, you can see text number 1, Urvamulam Adashakam. Urvamulam, right? Urvamulam meaning the roots are up. Mula, the roots, and Urva, they're up. And Adashakam, the branches are down, right? So this is what's being described here. It's a special tree. It's Ashwatam, Ashwatama tree, a banyan tree. Banyan trees, you know, you have banyan trees there also. They grow very big. There's a huge banyan tree in Calcutta. In Calcutta they have this one botanical garden. And they have this big tree which covers a few miles. One tree, all branches growing into the ground. And the roots are up. So, Lord Krishna is talking about this kind of tree. Lord Krishna is saying, there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and its leaves are the Vedic hymns. The leaves of the tree, there's different parts of the tree, and we'll have to learn what are these different parts of this tree which is being described here. Said, one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The leaves are the Vedic hymns, right? The roots are up and the branches down, right? So we want to understand this tree. Prabhupada talks about, we may ask, what about the Vedas? How to understand the purpose of the Vedas? Well, the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. So someone who is engaged in devotional service, he already knows the Vedas. If we're doing devotional service, we know about the Vedas, one who is in Krishna consciousness. Veda means knowledge. Vedanta means the end of knowledge. And the end of knowledge means to know Krishna. So we don't have to worry. It's not like we have to go off and read more books. We just have to engage in devotional service. So Lord Krishna had been speaking about our entanglement in the material world. So here again, this 15th chapter, we heard about the three modes of nature in chapter 14. In chapter 13 also it was speaking about how we associate with the modes of nature and we become entangled. So here in chapter 15, it's also again talking more about this entanglement of the material world. And it said this entanglement is compared to a banyan tree. And one who engages in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. So I said, very big. You get in you can be in the banyan tree, you never know where you're going because it's so big. You can get lost in the banyan tree because so many branches going into the ground. And here it says, the living entity wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. So this tree has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there's no possibility of liberation. Now we want to get free, we want to get out of the tree, very difficult. So we heard about the leaves. The leaves on the tree are the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns are meant for elevating people. People will recite the Vedic hymns. Usually people will do this for some material purpose. Anyway, the people recite the Vedic hymns for elevation in the material world, to go to higher planets. So the hymns are there on the leaves of the tree. And the tree's roots grow upwards. They begin from where Lord Brahma is located. Lord Brahma is at the top of the universe. And so the roots are coming from him. They're coming, right? The roots are up. The branches are coming down. If one can understand this tree, this indestructible tree of illusion, then he can get out of it. Right? I should put my screen on and share my screen with everyone. Oh, sharing is not turned on. Can you turn it on?
I'm sorry, my bad. Just let me make you co-host, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj, you are in.
Okay, just to show you here. Bhagavad Gita. So the tree's roots grow upwards, they begin from where Brahma is located. If one can understand this indestructible tree, then one can get out of it. Right? How to get out? So Prabhupada said this process of extrication, in other words, how to get out of the tree, it should be understood in the previous chapter. It has been explained there are many processes by which to get out of material entanglement. Right? There are different processes. It was described in the 13th chapter. They spoke about meditation, Sankhya Yoga. They spoke about Karma Yoga, working without enjoying the fruit, Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then it said also, even if you don't want to do these things, if you simply by hearing about devotional service, that can help you to get out of material entanglement. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has been emphasizing devotional service. At the end of the 6th chapter, he said, of all types of yoga, devotion, bhakti yoga is the best. Yoginam api sarvesham madhyatem antaratmanam. Of all yogis, the highest yogi is the bhakti yogi. So bhakti yoga is the best way to get out. And Prabhupada continues, he said, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. Right? This is important for us. We have to get detached from material activities. How to get detached? We have to become attached to service to Krishna. If we're doing service to Krishna, then automatically detachment from material activities will come about. The more we do service to Krishna, the more we do hearing and chanting and remember and just engaging in some kind of devotional activities, like some people will recite a chapter a day of the Bhagavad Gita. That's very good. They say a chapter a day keeps Maya away. If you can recite the Bhagavad Gita one chapter a day, then 18 days you finish the whole Bhagavad Gita. Then you do it again, and then you do it again, and like that. Once you've been reciting the Bhagavad Gita 8-10 times, then you start to know it. You start to remember. And the more we become attached to that kind of service, then the less we're attached to material activities. We don't worry about material activities. We attach to Krishna. So this is important. This is how to get free of the material energy, by holding on to Krishna. So Prabhupada said, the process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upwards. That means it begins from the total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. And from there, the whole universe is expanded with so many branches, the different planetary systems, and the fruits represent the results of the living entity's activities. The fruits, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Right? These are the fruits of the tree. So we had the leaves of the tree, or the Vedic hymns, and now you have the fruit of the tree is religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. So Prabhupada talks about, we don't have experience of a tree like this, branches down and the roots up. Is there such a thing? And Prabhupada said, yes, if you see the reflection of a tree on water. When you see the reflection, you can see the trees on the bank reflect upon the water. And then the branches are down and the roots are up. So Prabhupada continues, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This material world is just a reflection. The real world is in the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire. Just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. So this tree of the spiritual world is situated on desire. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. Right? So we have to know this tree. We're learning about it. Right? This tree is the reflection of the real tree. It's an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. And then Prabhupada goes on, talks about the impersonalists take Brahman, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, comes Prakriti, Purusha, the three gunas, the 5 elements, the 10 senses. They divide up the whole material world into the 24 elements. Right? We know what are the 24 elements. So they also talk about 24 elements. They don't talk about the soul. So Brahman is the center of all manifestations. This material world is a manifestation of the center by 180 degrees. Right? 180 degrees means straight line. One half is the material world, the other half the spiritual world. The material world is the reflection. The spiritual world is the reality. Everything there in the reflection is there in the spiritual world. But in the spiritual world, it is real. In the material world, it's just a reflection. It's not real. So Prakriti is the external energy of the Lord. Prakriti means what? What's the English word for Prakriti?
Nature.
Yes, yes. And what's the English word for Purusha?
Person.
Enjoyer, yeah. So, in Bhagavad Gita it's explained like that. So this material world it's temporary. It's not real. Reflection is temporary. But the origin, from where the reflection is coming, that is eternal. So the material reflection, the real tree, has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. And one who is attracted by the ritualistic formula of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. So rituals are there in the Vedas. People sometimes think this is the real purpose of the Vedas, but actually that's not the real purpose of the Vedas. Just to do some ritual for material benefit. The purpose of the Vedas, as discussed by Personality of Godhead himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Right? Foolish people, they spend their time, then they spend a lot of money, they will pay a lot of money to do rituals which are in the Vedas for material benefit. And material benefit means things which are limited and temporary. So the real purpose of the Vedas is to get us out of the material world. We have to cut down the reflection and find the real tree, the spiritual world. Right? So what did we learned about Urvamulam and Adasakam? Urvamulam meaning what?
its roots are downward?
Yes.
The
Urvamula, the roots are down. And Adara Saktam, what's
branches are down.
Branches are up, right? And then what do the leaves of tree represent?
The Vedic
Roots
hymns.
are up and branches are down.
Yeah.
Yes. And the leaves on the tree are the Vedic hymns, right? And what's the fruit of the tree? What's the fruit?
Sense liberation, sense gratification,
economic development.
Yes, and what else?
Religion.
Huh?
Religion.
Yeah, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and
Where the
Moksha. Yes, liberation, religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. This is the fruit of the tree. And the tree is situated on? What's the tree situated on?
water.
No. In the spiritual world, the tree is situated on desire. The tree is situated on desire. So we have to learn how to get free from the tree. How to cut down the tree, right? How to cut down the tree, to get free from this tree, because it's very big. We get stuck in this tree, sometimes go in the top of the tree or in the bottom of the tree, one branch to another branch, and we never get out. So here, we'll go ahead to the next verse. This is text number 2, and it's described here. The branches of the tree extend downward and upward. Some are down and some are going up. And they're all nourished by the modes of nature. And the twigs on the tree are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruit of action of human society. So we heard, it's getting confusing, right? Because we heard Urvamula Madasakam, that the roots are up and the branches are down. But here it's saying that, well, sometimes the branches are down, and sometimes the roots are going up, and sometimes they're down. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruit of action of human society. So the branches are spread in all directions. In the lower parts of the tree, there are different manifestations of living entities like human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats. This is all the lower part of the tree. On the upper part of the tree, higher forms of living entities like the demigods are there. The demigods and the Gandharvas and other different higher species of life. They're in the upper region of the tree. And the tree is nourished by water. So this tree is nourished by the 3 modes of material nature. So different conditions are there. Prabhupada explains sometimes the land is barren, there's no water, and sometimes a place is very green. There'll be a lot of nice water there. So modes of nature are there in different places. Different species of life are manifest according to the modes of nature. Some things are very green and some things are very dry. You have things like cactuses which grow in the desert, are very dry. And you've got nice flowers and greens growing where there's nice rain, where it's more humid. And so different modes of nature are manifest. And different conditions will be there according to how their modes of nature are influencing. So we heard the twigs of the tree are like the sense objects. And by development of the different modes of nature, we develop different senses. And by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. Right? So the twigs are like sense objects. And then the tips of the branches are the senses. The tip of the branch are senses like eyes, nose, ears. So the senses are attached to enjoying different sense objects. The twigs are the sense objects. There's things like sound, form, touch, taste, and smell. Those are the different sense objects. 5 sense objects. And 5 senses, knowledge acquiring senses. And the subsidiary roots are attachments and aversions, which are byproducts of different varieties of suffering and enjoyment. So everything is there in the tree. Attachment and aversion, suffering and enjoyment. Sometimes the tendency is to be pious, and sometimes tendencies to be sinful, and it all comes from these different roots, which are spread in different directions. But the real root is from Brahma Loka, and the other roots are in the human planetary system. So the original root is up at Brahma Loka. After we enjoy our different activities in the upper planetary system, usually living entity will come into the material world in the higher regions. And so they will enjoy there in the higher region, and then he will come down to earth and renew his karma. And he come down to earth. This is a place where we get our karma. We're all earning our karma here in this planet Earth. This planet of human beings is considered the field of activities, right? The field of activities, karma kshetra, right? The field of activities. So here on this material, in this planet Earth, this is where we're earning our karma. And if you have a lot of good karma, you get promoted to the higher planets. And you can go up to the higher planets and enjoy there, be there. And when you finish, when you use up all the karma, then you come back to earth again. And you have to get more karma. So this is the way of the material world. We're constantly coming up and going down, suffering and enjoying. This is the material world. So then text 3 and 4 are next. They're describing more about this tree. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. Why is it like that? Well, it's a big, big tree. But anyway, we're told with determination, we must cut down this strongly rooted tree, right? We're in the banyan tree, and how to get out? We have to cut down the tree with the weapon of detachment, right? We heard detachment from the material and attachment to Krishna. This is the basic principle of devotional service. So we have to have the weapon of detachment. And with that weapon of detachment, then we can go on. It's that after one can seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns. And there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So you can see Lord Krishna goes on, he's been talking about the material world and comparing it to the banyan tree. And now he's telling that if we can get out, if we can not cut down that tree with the weapon of detachment, then we can surrender to the Supreme Lord. And it was described there, that place from which, having gone, one never returns. You go there, you don't want to come back. And it's there that we surrender to the Supreme Lord. He is that person from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So that is the position of the Supreme Lord, that everything has come from Him. And we can go there and surrender to Him. When we go there, we'll never want to come back to this place. Unless we're completely crazy. Yeah, we wouldn't want to come. Why you'd want to come back to this place, which is, this is Mrityuloka. This is the planet of death. We're all dying here. The other day we were reading 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna is speaking Uddhava Gita to Uddhava. Lord Krishna is giving his instructions to Uddhava. And he's telling Uddhava, he said, our position here, we're like criminals. And we're waiting, sometimes they get criminals, they're murderers, and they're sentenced to death. So they're put in the cell there in the prison waiting for death. So he said, actually all of us are like that. We're all here in this material world, and we have a material body which is doomed to die. And we know it's going to die, but still people are not thinking they're going to die. People are only planning to enjoy and try to live forever. But if we're more intelligent, we will think about going to that place from which, when you go there, you never come back. When these people, when they said the Americans had gone to the moon, the spacemen supposed to have gone to the moon, Prabhupada said they have the enjoying mentality, because they go there, but they don't stay there. They come back. So that is the enjoying mentality. You go somewhere, you stay there for some time, and then come back. But the proper thing to do is, you want to go there, you don't want to come back. Just stay there and surrender to the Supreme Lord. Why come back again to this miserable material world, which is a place of birth and death? Alright, so Prabhupada's purport on this verse, it is now clearly stated the real form of this banyan tree cannot be understood in this material world. It's a very special tree. The root is upward, and the real tree is at the other end. And when we're entangled with the expansion of the tree, we cannot see how far the tree extends. We cannot see the beginning of this tree. But we have to find out the cause. Just like, sometimes when we were children, we would ask our parents, where do I come from? And they would say, oh, you come from me. And we say, where do you come from? I came from my mother and father. Where did your mother and father come from? Oh, they came from their mother and father, and like that. So, where does everyone come from? We want to know the cause. And in this way, if we go on searching, ultimately we'll come to Lord Brahma, who is the original person, the first person to take birth in this world. And he takes his birth, of course, in the lotus flower, which comes from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So in this way, we can also come to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when you come to understand Him, that is the end of our research. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, one who is actually in knowledge will surrender to me. And Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadulabha. After many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge will surrender to me. Such a soul is very rare. Right? So this is the process of Gyan. When you know Vasudev Sarvamiti, Vasudev Krishna is everything, then we will surrender to him. So that's the end of all of our research. So the same way we have to search out the origin of this tree. And we have to search out this origin through the association of people who are in knowledge. People who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. By understanding, one can become gradually detached from the false reflection of reality. And by knowledge, one can cut off the connection and actually become situated in the real tree. The real tree. So, we said there was the reflection of a tree and a real tree. Why? What, do you want to spend your time with the reflection all the time? You just want to enjoy the reflection? Yeah. Of course, we want the real thing. We don't just want some reflection. So Prabhupada goes on talking more about this important point. He said, Asanga. Asanga is very important. The attachment for sense enjoyment and lording over the material nature is very strong. So we have to learn detachment. Asanga, detachment, by discussion of spiritual science based on scriptures. And we have to hear from people who are in knowledge. When we hear from people who are in knowledge, it will have spiritual potency and we will awaken detachment, right? Just by hearing, right? You want to do it. Just like sometimes Prabhupada would go there and he'd give classes, and people would just come. They just want to surrender. Yeah, I heard Swamiji speak. I want to surrender. I want to give my life. I want to take up Krishna consciousness. So this is the kind of association we want. We want to hear about Krishna in the association of these kind of devotees. And then we can be sure to come to Krishna. So Prabhupada said the first thing one must do is surrender to Krishna. The description of that place where, having gone, one never returns to the false reflected tree is given here. Right? Krishna is telling us about the spiritual world, the real tree. The Supreme Lord, He is the original root from which everything has come. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, right? Everything comes from me. Everything material and spiritual, all comes from the Supreme Lord. So to get the favor of the Lord, we have to surrender. And this is a result. This surrender comes about by doing devotional service. We have to be willing to engage in devotional service. Prabhupada quotes this verse I just quoted here from Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhava. I am the origin of everything. So to get out of the entanglement of this tree of material life, we have to surrender to Krishna. You want to get free of material life, you have to surrender. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna, then we automatically become detached from the material world. Right? There's a story. Buddhists, they tell the story about the one man. He had come to his guru, and he was saying to his guru, "Oh Guruji, I'm so attached. How can I ever get free of my attachments? How can I ever get free? I'm so entangled in material life." And so his guru looked at him and said, "You just wait. In a little while I will tell you how you can get free." So later that day, the disciple could hear his guru calling out. He was calling out, "Help! Help! Save me! Save me! Help!" And so the disciple heard this guru calling. He went running to see what was wrong. And he went running, found his guru, and his guru had his arms round a tree, and he was holding onto the tree, and he was saying, "Let me go! Help! Help!" And so the disciple said to his guru, he said, "Guruji, what's wrong?" He said, "Well, I want to let go. I want to get free of this tree." So the disciple said to his guru, he said, "Well, Guruji, you just have to let go. You're holding on to the tree. If you don't hold on to the tree, you can be free of the tree. The tree's not forcing you to stay attached. Just let go of the tree." So the guru let go, and then he turned to the disciple. He said, "Yes, you see, you want to get free of your attachments. It's easy. You just have to let go. Don't hold on." In the same way, Krishna consciousness, our process of letting go, our process of getting free, is to hold on to Krishna. Just simply to take up devotional service, to do more hearing and chanting, to do some more service, working for Krishna and giving to Krishna, giving all the things which we're attached to. Your hard-earned money, bring your money and give it to Krishna. You get free of your attachment. Right? So we're holding on to Krishna. We're holding on to the material energy. But if we let go of the material energy, we hold on to Krishna, then we'll get free of this material energy. So that's surrender to Krishna. Surrender to Krishna means get free from the material entanglement. Srimad Bhagavatam said, Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jnana Yatiya Suvairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. By devotional service, one automatically acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. It all comes about just by doing devotional service. So that is surrender. Surrender. Using our mind, body and words all in the service of Krishna. If we dedicate everything in Krishna's service, then we won't be entangled in the material energy. We have to change the attachment from material to spiritual. Instead of being attached to Krishna, instead of being attached to Maya, become attached to Krishna. Just change the attachment. So here also it's talking about getting free. And remember the acts of detachment was mentioned. You have to use the acts of detachment. It's mentioned here, Asanga Shastrena. Asanga Shastrena. By the weapon of detachment. Very important. And you shall have the weapon of detachment. Then you can get free. And how do you sharpen that weapon of detachment? Right? It's like the axe, right? How to sharpen it? How will you
by engaging our senses into Krishna.
By being attached to Krishna.
By
being attached to Krishna.
By engaging our senses in the service of Krishna, like chanting, hearing, and all these services.
Yeah, and by detachment from the material, right? We have to let go of the material energy. Don't hold on to all these material things, material attachments which we have. The more we're absorbed in Krishna, then the less we'll be thinking about the material. So this is the idea, right? Says banyan tree. We have to cut down dridena chitva, cutting stone. So these trees, not easy. You can see they grow so big and the roots can be very strong. So very difficult to get free. But determination, with determination, one must cut down this tree. Determination, cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So these words are important. We have to have that kind of determination and then cut down the tree with the weapon of detachment. All right. So then Lord Krishna goes on to describe about the spiritual world, or the qualification at least to go there to the spiritual world. Nirmama moha chitta sanga dosha. Right? Very nice explanation. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama. Right? Lord Krishna is saying, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, and who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, then these people attain to that eternal kingdom. So you can see there's some requirements there. We want to enter into the eternal kingdom, the abode of the Lord. We have to be ready. We have to be willing to let go of the material energy. We have to give up our pride. We have to give up false association. We have to be finished with material lust. And we're freed from the dualities of happiness and distress. We should know how to surrender to go to that kingdom. So Prabhupada said, the surrendering process is described here very nicely. Surrender. The first qualification is one should not be deluded by pride. Oh, remember we were studying the 20 items of knowledge in chapter 13? There were 20 items of knowledge which people could cultivate to do devotional service. Remember that? 20 items of knowledge. What was the first ones?
Humility, Maharaj.
Yeah, what's the Sanskrit word? Do you remember? No? Anyway, humility, yes. Humility is one. Any more?
Pridelessness, tolerance,
steadiness, cleanliness.
Cleanliness, yes. That's right. Cleanliness was one. And amanitvam adam vitvam, humility and pridelessness are both mentioned, the first ones. And then it also mentions about unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Lord, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti, they're just simply devoted to the Supreme Lord. And then other things, there's other qualities, as you mentioned, like cleanliness. We should be aware of the miseries of old age, disease and death. And we should be aware also the attachment to the home and the family, like that. All right, so anyway, surrendering process is being described. And the first thing is we should not be proud. We shouldn't be deluded by pride. Prabhupada explains, because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinks himself to be the Lord of material nature, so it's very difficult for him to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Right? We're so foolish. We think ourselves to be the Lord of material nature. We cannot even control our own mind and senses, but we think we can control the whole material world. So this is our ignorance, and we have to surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada said, one should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not the Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. So, beginning the process of surrender, we have to get free from delusion caused by pride. Pride comes before the fall, is the saying. And we have examples of even demigods, how they fell down because they were so proud. So have to be very careful. We should not be proud. We should be humble. We should offer all respect to others, and we shouldn't be anxious to be respected ourselves. That is real humility, when one can give respect to others. So Prabhupada continues talking more about pride. He said, if someone is always expecting some honor in the material world, then it's not possible to surrender to Krishna. He's the Supreme Person. So pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here and stays for a brief time and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. Right? We come for a short time, but we are thinking our position to be very great. And so this brings us so much trouble. This makes our life very difficult. But the whole world is under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to them, and they have divided the land under the impression that they are the proprietors. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the example of Mother Earth, as she is laughing at these kings who are fighting. Kings are fighting to possess a piece of land. They're saying this land belongs to me. One king is saying it's my land. The other king says, no, it's my land. And in this way they fight with each other. And ultimately they kill each other. They're fighting for the land. The land was there before the kings. And the land will be there after the kings go also. So Mother Earth is laughing at these foolish people who are trying to claim proprietorship over the material world. The material energy is eternal, but they're not eternal. But they want to claim this is my land. So we have to get out of that notion that this world belongs to us. Just like, when the people climb a mountain, they will put the flag of their country there. And they even say when the spacemen went to the moon, then they put their flag on the moon. Of course, they never went again, but they say they put the flag there. And like so many borders are there. This is my land, this is this country. So these kind of divisions just create more trouble for people. So many wars are going on, so many disputes over what's their territory. So we have to get out of this notion that we are the proprietors. Right? Bhagavad Gita describes the peace formula. Bhoktaram yagna tapasham sarva loka maheshwaram. Right? The supreme proprietor is Lord Krishna. Everything belongs to him. So when we get free from that, then we become free from all kinds of false association. And Prabhupada describes different kinds of false association. It can be the family, it can be national, it can be social. We have all these different kinds of false association. And this is what keeps us in the material world. We get attached our family, our country, our community. We have to understand our real identity as spiritual beings and not be attached to this material world. So then Prabhupada goes on, he said, we have to develop spiritual knowledge. We have to cultivate knowledge of what is our own and what is not. In this way we become free from the dualities of happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. And he becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Right? So surrender to the Supreme Lord. Not an easy thing. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, because 18th chapter, verse 66, Lord Krishna has said, surrender to me. Give up all religion and surrender to me. Right? You all know that verse?
Yes, Maharaj.
Right? What's the verse?
Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja.
Okay. So what does it mean, surrender? How did Prabhupada explain it there in the purport in the Bhagavad Gita? You know that?
Leave all other paths and surrender only unto me.
Leave what?
All other paths.
Oh, leave all other paths and surrender to me. Well, yes, okay. Give up all kinds of dharma. Give up all your materialistic attempts. And just take shelter of me. Anyway, in the purport there, in the Bhagavad Gita, and you'll see also when we come to the 18th chapter, there's different items of surrender mentioned there. Here in this text, here in the 15th chapter, Lord Krishna is also describing how to surrender, how we can qualify ourselves to go back to Godhead. So, first thing was to be free of pride, to cultivate humility. And then talks about false association, right? What was the false association?
With this material world, like attachment with our parents or like children, this is also the false association, I think.
Yes, our country and our family, our community, we identify in all these different ways.
But Maharaj, I want to say one thing that when we are taking this class in association of you or other devotees, or like when we read the Bhagavad Gita, at that time we feel that this is right. Yes.
I'm sorry? Your question is not clear. Your voice is breaking.
That's okay. We have to do this.
Hare Krishna. Is it okay, Maharaj?
Yeah, now you're okay. Yeah, go ahead. What
Okay.
were you...
I want to say that when we are in association of devotees, just like you, or like in the class, we are in the class, or when we read Bhagavad Gita, or in the association of other devotees, we feel that okay, this is true. We have to detach ourselves, and all that Krishna is saying to us, that we have to do this, do that. All things is okay. Yes. We say that yes, this is true. This is okay. But when any situations comes in our practical life, we become like blank, and after it, when it goes by, after that have reacted like this.
You're having some trouble with your microphone, is it?
You didn't listen my question?
Well, until your voice broke, you know, it was very clear up to a set.
Maybe there is an internet issue, Maharaj.
Yeah, some internet issue was there. Anyway, you were saying when you're with devotees, when you're with us, then you feel very, convinced that, yeah, I have to do this. But other times, then you forget it. Is it? Or you don't take it as being so important?
Yes, no, we think it is important, but we just forget and we become entangled in that attachment. Like if our parents are in trouble or some feel that they are health wise, like if they feel something that we feel bad, so bad, and we are just become painful with that situation. So that is the most attachment of ourselves. So we want to be we want to be free from that thing, but we just get into it.
Yes. Well, devotees, we should not be callous about these things. Devotees are people, and we do care about our family members and so on. Definitely, if there's some cause for concern, then we're expected to take an interest and do what we can to help them and so on. But that kind of attachment. We should understand, however, that it's this is a temporary relationship. We shouldn't get too much overly affected by the whole thing. Well, we have to take care and do what we can and perform our different duties. Duties to the family are there, especially young women, you have, and even older women, married women like that. You're very much duties to your family, your husbands or your children and whatever. You have a duty there. You cannot just neglect these things. But at the same time, we have to cultivate our spiritual life, and we do have to be thinking about surrender, and we have to think, how can I make myself more Krishna conscious? What can I do? No, it doesn't mean you have to leave home, doesn't mean you have to reject the family, but we do need to purify our consciousness. We need to think about these things. We have to understand the nature of these relationships, that these relationships are not eternal. We come together and we have a duty to do and so on. All right, do it. Go ahead. But at the same time, we need to hear this kind of knowledge because it will help us to prepare ourselves for the inevitable end, which will come with the separation, with the departure of different family members. Maybe we depart, or maybe some other family members depart. And we have to understand the nature of the material world. And we have to be transcendentally situated. And we have to understand that the association is actually not eternal, it's temporary. So it's described here as false association. Not that it's illusion, it's real enough, but it's not eternal. And we do have to learn to get free from the dualities of happiness and distress. we can be very much influenced by the modes of nature. Happiness, 1 minute, things go bad the next, oh, we're really down, we're really in distress. And we have to learn to rise above these kind of things. We have to understand that the results of our work, the happiness, and this is all the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So this kind of association, we need association. You have to get association. We have to associate with the devotees and hear from them. And at the same time, you have to associate with your family. You have material duties to do and so on. But as it said here, you understand the eternal, and you're done with material lust. Right? We don't want any material lust. From lust comes anger or greed. Lust, it means a lot of material desires. And then if we get what we want more. We become greedy for more. When we don't get what we want, we become angry. So in this way, lust, anger, and greed, 3 gates to hell. And every wise person wants to avoid them. So we have to understand what are these requirements for us to get out of the material world so that we can go back to Godhead. There are some qualifications, some standards there, you see. Just like when we come for initiation, when we come to the spiritual teacher, you want initiation. There are requirements. You have to follow certain principles. No meat, fish, and egg, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, and every day chanting minimum 16 rounds. So these are requirements, you see. In the same way, you want to go back to Godhead, there's some qualification. Just like you want to go to college, there was some qualification. Are you qualified? Are the college ready to accept you? Do you have the proper qualifications? Everything, you have to. They will check your qualification. You go for a job. They want to know what's your qualification. Are you able to do this kind of work? So similarly, we want to go back to Godhead. We want to go to be with Krishna. What's the qualification? Yeah, there's a standard. We have to be able to fit on and up to the standard. We have to come up to the standard.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji.
Yes?
Maharaj Ji, how to understand attachment? Like, this is attachment with our family or our friends. How to get to know that we are attached?
Well, it's natural to have some affection for the family. That's expected. But we have to also understand that the nature of the material energy. That the material energy, this material world, it's a temporary place of misery, ultimately. It's all misery here in this material world. Little bits of pleasure, flickering happiness, but a lot of suffering. So with the family, you don't want to get too much entangled in material endeavors. Material endeavors, we want more money, we want to have a bigger house, we want to send the children to America to study. People get involved in many different things like this. Ambitious programs for their material development. That is due to, that's not encouraged. It's too much endeavor. And you can ruin a lot of your life, waste a lot of your time. just endeavoring for material comforts to improve what you'd consider to be your material standards. So that means too much attachment. Too much attachment to the temporary. Right? You want to take care, but you don't want to just simply only take care and think only about comforts and how to increase your standards, how to come up the social ladder, how to have more money, how to have more prosperity. We have to understand the material energy and its nature, the nature of this material world. All right? Then you can see how much you're attached, by how much you're concerned for these things.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaji.
Yes?
We basically, it's like we should not be that attached, but there is this thing that it's like a person, a practicing devotee, they practice it in that way that they never try to hurt the other person. What about the time when the person in front of you gets attached to you? For example, it's like we being children, our parents may be attached to us. So there are certain limitations. We cannot hurt them. So that's also a part. Then what about that?
Well, you have to also share your spiritual education with your family members. You have to try to enlighten them about the nature of the material existence. Your parents love you, your parents are attached to you. You have to talk to them and you have to explain to them that you're a spirit soul and you've had many births and they've also had many births. So their attachment for you is based on the body. But that body is temporary. And that attachment which they have for you could be the cause of their entanglement in the material nature. It will bring them back again into the material world. Just like there was this one man, he was very attached to his sons. And so what happened was he built a nice house for his sons and they were all living there in the big house. But he got old and he died. And after his death, next life, he became a cobbler and he was repairing people's shoes. And it happened that as a cobbler, he was sitting outside the home, the house which he had built, which was used by his sons. He was there, sitting outside the house, repairing the shoes. Previously, he'd been the owner, and he was the father. But now he was just a boy, he was a cobbler, repairing shoes. And his sons were, full of ego and proud, and they would come and they would just be nasty to the boy and beat him with their shoes. So these kind of things happen. We have to understand the body is temporary. The body, we're attached to the body, but that body is just temporary. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the example about Maharaj Chitraketu and how he wanted a son very badly, and then finally he got a son, but then after a short time the son died. And when the son died, Maharaj Chitraketu was broken-hearted. He was lamenting so much. And then great sages came there and they brought the boy back to life for some time. And the boy said to them, "What do you mean?" The boy said, "I'm not your son." They said, "I've had many sons. Which father are you?" "I don't know you." He said, "I've had many births. I've taken birth many times in many different bodies, and I have different mothers and fathers every time." So I said, you say you're my father, but I've had many fathers. Which father are you? So people are in ignorance about these things. This is the cause of the attachment. It's all due to ignorance. So if you love your parents, you love your family, you need to educate them about the real family. The real family is in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, we can all be together and we can enjoy each other's association eternally. But in this material world, it's all very temporary. There's no real happiness here in this world. But there's the illusion of happiness. And there's the illusion that we're the family, my family. We come together in a family. It's just like you get on a bus. You travel on a bus with a group of people. You meet them, you get in the bus, then you get off the bus. You never see them again. In the same way, we come together in the family. So we do need to try to educate people about these things. Right?
Thank you, Maharaj.
You love your parents, so you should teach them about Krishna consciousness. You should teach them about the soul and understand the real self. Their attachment is for the body. They're thinking, my daughter, but they're not understanding the soul. Who gave the body? Who gave you the body? The mother, you have a father and you have a mother. They didn't give you the body. The body is given by the grace of the Supreme Lord. We're all the children of the Supreme Lord. Krishna said, Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father. So try to understand who is the real father behind everyone. It's not that just, the father and mother, they created the body. No, it's by the grace of God that you were born. It's not just by the father, the mother. They're playing some small part, but ultimately it's up to God. People often want children. They don't always get children. They do everything. They try everything to have the child, but they don't get. Krishna doesn't give. And sometimes Krishna gives, and sometimes he doesn't. So we take our birth, and we die by the grace of Krishna. We say, Mari Krishna Rakeke, Rake Krishna Marike. We live by the grace of Krishna, and we die by the grace of Krishna. Right? It's not our doing. We're just simply instruments in his hands. Krishna said to Arjuna, Nimitta matra bhava savyasachin. Become an instrument in my service, O Arjuna. You see, that's the idea. Become an instrument in the service of Krishna. So, if you can think more about this, and if you're convinced about this, then you can convince your parents also. Because this knowledge is for everyone. And if your parents don't know this kind of knowledge, then it's not very good. You need to try your best and get through to them. Yeah, people are attached. We get attached. Especially you have children, you get very attached. First you get married, you get attached to each other, husband and wife. Then you get children, you get more attached. More children, more attachment. It's nice. It's nice to have children. It's very good. And we want people to have children and bring them up to be devotees. We want to understand that it's all the grace of Krishna. It's his blessing that we've come together. We're so fortunate. You understand, Maharaji?
Yes, Maharaji. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
I have a question that it is written, one must hear from a person who are actually in knowledge. So how we know that from where we are hearing that is authentic or no, or they have actually knowledge?
Yes. How do you know? Well, just like when you go to buy gold, how do you know what's real gold and what's not gold? Or when you buy jewelry, how do you know what's the real thing and what's not? Right? You have to know the qualification of the teacher, qualification of a real teacher. Just like you go to college, how do you know that it's a good college or not? How do you know? Well, qualification.
Reputation.
Huh? How do you know?
It's college or school, we put results like.
Well, you want to see the qualifications. You go to a hospital, you go to a doctor, you want to see the qualifications. You don't just go to anybody. You want to know who's the real doctor. And same way, somebody's teaching, you want to hear from people who are authorized. They have to speak. And we have what is the authorization? Parampara. We have to speak according to parampara, according to disciplic succession. So people who are speaking, they should be authorized, they should be coming parampara. That is a sign that they're authorized, that they're speaking according to the previous authorities. They're not just speaking their own ideas, but they're speaking according to the teachings of the previous acharyas. And the previous acharyas are presenting the message of the original acharya, Lord Krishna. Right? So you can understand who is authorized and who's not. When you hear people speak, you should hear people speaking, you will know by how much you're affected, how much you're appreciating. If it's genuine, then you will understand, this person speaking, it's going to change me. It can have a real effect on me, can bring about a change in myself. So when you can, if you feel like that, you can understand persons qualified, he's authorized, he's empowered. And you can see within the ISKCON society, there's some wonderful speakers. They're speaking, they're empowered to speak. They're empowered to speak on behalf of the Lord. So we can actually feel that, the effect of their speaking, how they're delivering the message of Krishna consciousness with full potency. It is said the speaker should not be a dead person. They have to be alive. They have to have life. Right? And then you can feel the effect. So that's one thing. I said they have to be in parampara. They have to be trained and initiated by a bona fide teacher themselves. And they have to know the truth, and they have to practice it themselves. They cannot just simply tell people to do something and they don't do it. You know, when we were at school, teachers would say, don't smoke. But we would say, but teacher, you're smoking. We see you smoking. He said, anyway, I'm telling you, don't smoke. So the teacher's telling us not to smoke, but he's not setting the example. So the example has to be there. A person has to believe what he's speaking. He has to be practicing what he's speaking. Not just speaking some words, but he's actually living what he's speaking. That's important. So you have to see that in the person. And then you have more faith in what he's saying. If somebody's just speaking to you or do this but they don't do it themselves, then you'll wonder, they don't do it. Why did he's telling me to do it? So the example has to be there. One time, mother took the little child to the doctor, and she asked the doctor, can you tell my child not to eat so many sweets? So the doctor said to the lady, can you come back after 2 weeks? So the mother went away with the child, came back 2 weeks later, and when they came back, the doctor said to the little boy, don't eat so many sweets. And so the lady said to the doctor, why didn't you tell him that 2 weeks ago? Why did I have to wait 2 weeks? The doctor said, well, 2 weeks ago I was eating a lot of sweets. So if I'm going to tell him not to eat sweets, I have to first of all not eat sweets myself. So that's why I asked you to wait 2 weeks. In the same way, we're preaching, we have to preach, we have to live what we're preaching. We don't just talk, but we actually mean it. We're really genuine in our efforts to get people to Krishna consciousness. We give our life, we commit ourselves to Krishna, and we feel the benefit. We want to see other people benefited. We want to convince them also that this is a good thing, that this is not going to do you any harm. This is going to give you the greatest benefit. It's going to be really good for you. So please take it up. You understand?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, it's important to know that the person you're hearing from, that they're actually practicing this, and they're committed to this, and they want you to also commit yourself.
Hare Krishna Maharaji.
Yes?
Maharaji, if we know that the speaker is not authorized or is not speaking like exactly as it is what Prabhupada write or Prabhupada speaks, so what will be our behavior at that point if we know that this person isn't like sharing as it is Bhagavad Gita or as it is Prabhupada's words? So how to deal with that person? What's our behavior at that point when we are in that class?
You mean, what are we supposed to do?
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, you can approach them and point out that this is different from what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Are you teaching us something different from what Prabhupada is saying? And something, somebody's doing like that, then we have to consider this is not a very ideal situation. You don't want that kind of teacher. Somebody's not presenting things in exactly the right way, then there's a problem there. You do want to be careful about that. And in that kind of situation, you may think, well, you need to hear from somebody else. You need to approach some other people and hear. Or you can also discuss with the person and point out what's going on. Why are you presenting this something different from what Prabhupada has taught us? What's your reason behind that? There's no harm to do that. If you feel somebody is not presenting something that's exactly true, then bring it up to them. Let them know. That's your duty. You should do that. It may be that you're wrong. Maybe you've just not properly understood them. But you may be right. And so if you're right, then the person should admit, that you're right, I should correct myself.
Not exactly whole class, but some things, that preacher adds on. Like we mostly have in our community that if we want to give someone a sore medicine, so bitter medicine, so we should add some sweetness in that according to their taste. So whatever it is, not from our books or something like according to their taste or according to their religion. We should add on those things so they can be satisfied or they'll get what we want to give them.
Well, yes, you can make it sugar-coated, put in a little sugar there to make it easier for people to take the medicine. You can do that. You have to know. You have to be expert. You have to know how much to add on, at the same time not to change the message. Prabhupada gave us Krishna consciousness. He made it very easy for us. The rules and regulations came later. Somehow or other get us attached to Krishna. And later the rules and regulations come. But first of all, get people attached to Krishna. Get them attached to chanting. And have nice prasadam. Have nice kirtan. People are happy. Nice prasadam, nice kirtan. And gradually give them a little philosophy. Gradually give them more and more philosophy. Let them understand more and more what is the science of Krishna consciousness. Right?
Thank you so much. We can change the details, but not that essence.
Yes, right. You can change the details, but not the principle. The principle is we're vegetarian. The detail is, well, Indian food, Chinese food, whatever, Italian food, you know. You can always have different kinds of food. That's going on. Okay, so we'll finish here tonight. We're coming back tomorrow. See you tomorrow night. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. All glories to His Holy
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You don't get any boys there, it's all ladies here, you know.
Boys left, Maharaj. Yeah, Sagar is here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Man, we are just 2 or 3 boys.
Oh, 2 or 3 boys. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Nice to see you there. Good. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna.